Chair Mealy, we are live. You have the floor.
Okay, this is a workshop meeting of the Flagler Beach City Commission. It is Thursday, May 21st at 5:31 p.m. We are meeting as a Zoom meeting because of the pandemic. And we will be discussing whatever has been happening relating to the virus and other city activities today. So I will ask the mayor to lead. Do we have a flag, Carlos? Carlos, wherever you went. Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right.
So I will ask the mayor to lead us in a pledge. Stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Linda. All righty, so we're open for any discussion of recent state and local actions related to COVID-19. Let's start with that. I know we got a couple of things emailed to us today. Larry, you want to take off with it? Or? You're muted, Larry.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if you don't mind, one thing I'd like to do while Kathleen is here is, Kathleen, you want to talk about something that is related to the virus, is the issue with the water bills.
Okay.
Kathleen?
Yes. Yes, I was just going to bring that back to the table. As you know, we've continued we're currently not doing any shutoffs. We're not charging any fees or penalties. I looked at receivables, just the balance of what's due today compared to what was due the same day last year. And dollar amount is about 35% higher. Mm-hmm. Also let's see, what other fun facts did I find? There's 123 people, 123 accounts that are over $300 compared to this time last year was about 80. I mean, we have had some increases, so that kind of fluctuates things a little bit, but you know, my main thing is, and one good side was Maria, our utility billing manager, has been, you know, every time we get calls, we've been talking to people about payment plans, and we currently have 10 people who are on payment plans, just, you know, to avoid the huge bill when things resume, you know. Okay. If we were to start reassessing doing fees, shutoffs, etc., on the June 30th, I'm pretty sure this billing, we did it on this building. That would mean that everybody would need to get their bill current by June 20th to avoid any penalties and fees and interest. And then it goes each month. So if we do it in June, at June 30th, then people would have till July 20th to get current without any penalties and interest, and so on. So I mean, my suggestion would probably be if we went with the June billing, that would give people up to after the 20th. That's after the 4th of July for restaurants, and you know, and things are opening. So I'll leave it up to y'all.
Okay, does anybody have any comments? I just like to say, I know that people are getting back to work. We never did find out what our unemployment rate is.
I could not find that. Or just our city.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I tried to look for that, but I couldn't find anything that was really current just for our city for unemployment. So.
All right. I know the restaurants are open, but they're open with less staff than their full staff. Some of the businesses are deciding not to open, so those people are out of work. I don't know what people must have thoughts on it. I don't want to hurt the city either. So you're saying that if we make it effective June 20th, people will have till July 20th to at least come forward for a payment plan?
Right. And anybody can come forward at any time and we can set them up a payment plan. I'm saying with the billing that would go out on June 30th, that means you would have until July 20th to get your bill paid. And you would not have any interest or fees. And, also I'd like to reinstate the shutoffs with the same month so that people start, coming in and setting up the payment plans. It's about the same number of people on our shutoff list this month, but I wasn't able to determine how many, I didn't have the time today, unfortunately, to determine how many people are, have been on there for months. But I would say it just would be a good idea. It's not that, we are willing to set up plans and work with everybody.
Are there many people who have never been in this position before? I know you have told us there
Yeah.
are people that live this way.
Yes, there are people that live this way. I would say yes, there's definitely people on the list that have never been on the list before.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a tendency to agree with what Kathleen's saying. We don't want people to get too far behind where it's going to be difficult or impossible to get caught up. It's always harder to catch up than it is to keep up. And just so people don't forget about it. I mean, they may just put it off until a later date, and before they know it, they're way overboard. So I'm sure that there will be individual situations that the City Hall will and Kathleen will work with them. So I think it's a good idea to now. Are you proposing that we drop all the late fees at that point as well, Kathleen?
Well, we haven't been assessing late fees. That's what
Okay.
so we haven't, anybody that hasn't paid their bill, like if you haven't paid your bill today, which yesterday was due date, you won't have a fee or a penalty on your bill at the end of the month. So we haven't been assessing them. And I was just suggesting that possibly with the June 30th bill, we begin assessing late fees and
potential shutoffs.
I know Ken was looking to say something.
Yeah, just very briefly, I concur with the other commissioners, and I think that Kathleen has indicated she's willing to work with individuals, and I mean, I know some folks that are still waiting for unemployment checks. So in particular cases like that, on a case by case, as long as they come in and they can show that they're trying to make an effort and they're not drawing on employment or don't have any income or anything like that, I think there's a willingness for us to work with them. And that's the only thing that we ask, is that they stay in touch with us and let us know what's happening.
I have a question.
Right. Debbie?
Kathleen, do we send out shut-off notices ahead of time? Or is that on your bill that you receive? You're going to be shut off at a particular time?
so we used to send our meter reader, Michelle, around with 120 actual paper tags with door and hang them on the doors.
Okay.
We stopped doing that several, I guess almost a year ago now. We've gone all techie and we do a call out that, leaves a voicemail. It texts you. It also emails you if we have all your information. And we do that several times during the cycle to remind people, And that seems to, I really think it has improved. I mean, up until, we got to this point, I could see a lot of improvement. Plus, we're saving off, it would take Michelle a full day to go around town hanging all those shut-off notices.
Right. Okay, thank you.
My comment was, in some cases, there may be someone who's had their phone turned off or their email, in which case, if you try to reach out to them and they don't respond, would that be a situation where you would put a tag on their door?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Maria, our utility billing manager, Maria DeSalva, takes, you
All right.
watch.
All right, great.
Anybody else? Do you need an actual motion for I don't remember whether we had a motion. originally, if we had a motion when we first said we weren't going to do the shut-offs?
We can't do motions in a workshop, can we?
I know, that's what I'm asking.
We can check. I think you did at the last regular meeting, or I think it was the last one or the one before that. I think it was the same date. Was it the end of June? Wasn't that the date we talked about last time, Kathleen?
I believe so, yes.
So we can double check that. And if we need a motion from you, we'll put it on the regular meeting agenda,
Okay.
maybe slide it to your regular meeting agenda coming up next week.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like everybody was pretty much in agreement with what Kathleen was saying.
So on the June 30th bills, that's when we're gonna start assessing the late fees.
Correct. And you won't retro back. You'll just start in June, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Retro back and definitely work with everybody on an individual basis.
All right, so if somebody comes in and says, I never got my unemployment check, I didn't get my stimulus check, I am out of a job, you will find a way to work with them somehow?
Give them ideas, but yeah, so we work. Maria does an amazing job. I mean, I'm just very impressed. She's a very compassionate person, and she definitely assesses everybody, but does not let people take advantage either. So
Yeah, no, I'm not looking for that, but I do know there are people that are really hurt.
oh, absolutely. Again, individually, we will work it out with everybody.
I know Pastor Solano said that the people that are coming to the food bank, it's almost double what it had been originally. So that's an indication, I would think. So, okay, as long as Maria keeps up her being a good person.
Right. Jane, I have one more question here.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What's my question? Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Oh, shut off fees. What if somebody does get shut off? What is the actual fee to turn back on?
It's $50.
Okay. So that's not.
Yeah, $25 to turn it off and $25 to turn it back on. So
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll see if it was actually a motion last time and it'll come back at the next meeting. If we
Penny
need
might have our answer.
Penny's looking for you, Jane.
to.
She's waving back there.
You actually made two motions at your April 9th meeting, and they were both regarding shut off and late fees and penalties. And you said to keep it in place 30 days past the governor's stay-at-home order expiring.
Okay. So that's still 60 days, right? Or middle of July.
We're still under the order. So Penny, can we add that to this coming agenda?
Yeah, well, how do you, I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything on this issue?
Yeah, just real quick. When did that expire?
It hasn't yet.
Hasn't.
The stay at home hasn't?
No.
No, we extended it 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah, the governor's order declaring a state of emergency in the state of Florida runs through July 8th or 9th. So he's still got another month and a couple weeks on that. So.
Yeah.
And our executive order, emergency order expires June 19th. I don't know if maybe you want to talk about extending that at our next regular meeting or keep it in place, or you can wait until the first meeting in June to discuss it.
So you're saying everybody's still at a stay at home as far as the state says?
Not stay at home, the state of emergency.
Well, Penny just said after the stay at home expires.
Was it stay at home or state of emergency? I heard state of emergency. I may have heard wrong.
The motion was forgive any late fees and penalties for utility bills for the period beginning March 19th, 2020 and through 30 days beyond the end of the stay-at-home order. And you had a motion previous to that was regarding shutoffs as well. Same thing.
That's how I remember it was just stay at home, not the emergency order.
I think
So-
we use those synonymously. You know, that we interchange those two statements, I think.
Either way, your timing is going to be different now. So, and Penny, I just sent you language for your agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it next week then.
Okay. All right. Larry, if you don't mind, while Kathleen's here, should we talk about the financial impact of this chart that you sent out today?
Absolutely.
Okay, Kathleen,
Yes.
I may be dense, but I'm not clear as to what this is saying.
Okay, so basically this is I created a way to segregate all the different payrolls and supplies that we are buying in as a for the COVID emergency. So I just ran it by department. So basically the total that we've spent through yesterday was $314,817. So then the first column is showing, the bulk of it being salaries, mostly overtime or people that were unable to work. And also, like for me, I know I've spent in the beginning, I was spending, 10 hours of regular time that I would have been doing something else, doing COVID activities. So that's where those numbers come from. The second column being the actual supplies that we may have purchased. And, the grand totals in each department. I did that. I probably should have sorted it by amount, but I mean, to show that our highest departments are, of course, our public safety departments.
So if I look at the beach department, that number under salaries is because we would not normally have had the lifeguards in that early, or?
Right, that was the instruction from our city manager, I believe, to code all the lifeguard time right now to COVID.
Okay, I just, at first I wasn't sure. So, so like Larry's, this is on top of his normal duties. That's how much.
Right.
Okay.
This is our emergency pay for exempt employees, I should say.
Okay. Okay, I got it now. And the whole middle column is supplies that we had to buy.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Larry, do we get or Kathleen, do we get reimbursed for any of this with all those forms, those 214s or whatever they are?
Kathleen, let me respond to that. First of all, there has been an application that's actually been submitted and approved by the Department of Emergency Management. And actually I have the book on my desk. Lisa will start working on submitting those applications so we can start seeking reimbursement. It's not really identified as a category A or B under a typical natural disaster, but the application does answer your question, which is we are up reimbursable right now based on the application up to 75%.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this? Linda?
I don't, but Eric's trying to get on. If Carlos can let him on.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Okay, well, I will just continue doing that report on, our weekly basis, or so to speak. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. It was
You're welcome.
very helpful information. Okay, Larry, hi, Eric. Well, almost hi, Eric.
Hey, y'all. Sorry, long day of work.
Larry, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I just wanted to let the board know I'm going in for a medical procedure next Thursday. And so I may not be actually part of the meeting, probably shouldn't be based on what medication they're going to give me. So I've asked Matt for that day because we all know Bobby's out of town based on a family emergency. So Matt has agreed to, as number 3 on the list, He's now number 1 on the list for Thursday.
Okay.
I'll be back at work on Friday if everything goes well, but just wanted to let everybody know about that. So I probably won't even be part of the meeting on Thursday for my benefit, because they put all that truth serum into your system. It's probably best I don't be part
Yeah,
of
I
that
had
meeting.
told you that a while ago, that you shouldn't think about it.
Well, and I appreciate that. The other thing is, just let me cover a couple of quick things that I'm handling. You probably saw a copy of the letter that went to the county administrator for the Wickline Center.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving forward with that. I went over and had a face-to-face meeting with Jerry Cameron. He's good with that. If you hear anything differently, let me know. Now's the time, but I think we're moving in that direction to where we can actually, and if those of you who hadn't been over to the Wickline Center, it's actually looking pretty good. Exterior and interior. And you guys are welcome to come over anytime. The other thing I've done is I've approved a return to work program for Flagler Beach for our employees. That come highly recommended from our HR director, that's what everybody's doing. It also is a liability issue. And Drew, I think you've seen this document. Am I correct or no?
I have not seen it yet. No, I'll get with Liz in the morning.
Okay, it's a template that Liz used for a return to work program, just to make sure that we are following the rules set forth by the CDC.
It looked good to me,
Good. Well, I appreciate that.
for whatever that's worth, but I mean, it really did look thorough to me.
Well, the other letter I sent over, because the county is in their budget cycle at this point in time, I did send a letter over as far as the funding for our lifeguards.
Mm.
And I did say that, any additional funding would be appreciated. I realize, the county is as strapped as we are when it comes to, this issue. But they do have a letter of our request at a minimum to maintain the existing funding that we have for our lifeguards. So,
Excuse me, Larry,
yes,
are
ma'am.
they meeting at these, or Carlos, maybe you can answer this, those budget hearings, are they Zoom meetings or?
Yes, they are. The administrator budget meetings have been happening in the morning at 8 a.m. and then in the afternoon at 1:30 p.m. There's one scheduled for tomorrow as well.
All right, so Larry, if you think it might be worth you asking Jerry if you could actually speak to the commissioners,
Yes, ma'am.
during one of those, you don't have to go anywhere, you just get signed on to the Zoom meeting.
Okay. No, I'll be happy to do that.
I think that might give a little bit more emphasis.
Are we saying to for you guys as commissioners to be signed on, or just me?
No, for you to do it. That's
Okay.
what I was thinking anyway.
Okay. I'll be happy to do that. Last but not least is I want to go ahead and brief you where we're at on short-term rental. First of all, I've been on the phone 3 times this morning with our lobbyist, which you know very well, Edgar. And that's a common question right now in Tallahassee. Where's the, what's it called? The Florida Building?
DBPR.
Yeah, I always get that confused. Anyway, we don't have anything yet based on the short-term rental that's come out from them. Drew, are you aware of any documents?
None that's come back from DBPR. I'm aware of what the county submitted or is in the process of submitting, requesting that we be added to the list of counties that the pause in short-term rentals is no longer applicable to. But that's the only document I've seen so far, and I forwarded that on to Penny. I don't know if she had a chance to send it to the elected officials yet.
Yes.
Hey, Larry.
Okay, the
I
bottom
thought that
line-
was approved today.
Yeah.
Was it approved
John-
by the county?
Sent out an email at about 4 o'clock saying that DBPR in fact had approved Flagler County for short-term rentals. But the county's working on a news release that has not been released yet. But I know that they have been approved as of about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
The question I have though is, we have our own ordinance. When it comes
It does not impair or impact really. Our ordinance is a different subject matter. Our ordinance is where it's allowed and where it's not. That stays in place.
Okay.
What the county's plan is basically tracking what DBPR has recommended that they adopt. And if you look at other counties, they all look the same. So if we get complaints in, or if the county gets complaints in, what's going to happen with those complaints in all likelihood is they're going to get forwarded on to DBPR.
Okay, so at the end of the day though, our ordinance still stands.
Correct. This does not change what our ordinance provides as the short-term rentals.
Okay, I just want to
It
make sure.
allows those who are allowed to do short-term rentals within Flagler Beach to go back to doing short-term rentals, subject to that county plan and DBPR's regulation.
Right. So I wanted my commission to understand that, you know, it doesn't give people carte blanche to go out and to start doing short-term rentals above and beyond our ordinance. Correct?
Correct.
And
Okay.
it's stricter in that they have to follow the COVID-19 recommendations.
Correct.
Okay. Rick, you had something?
Okay. Yeah, Larry, I had a question for you. Did you send that letter that to the county to all of us? Because if you did, I missed it somehow.
Which letter?
The letter about the Wick Line Center?
Yes, I sent it to you, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll look for you specifically and see if I can find it. Another question goes back to Kathleen's report. Recreation, $23,000. Is that all, Tom?
No.
So what's recreation? Is that including barricades and stuff like that or something?
Hold on one second. Let me pull it back up. Okay. 3,000. It's salaries. Yeah, I think the majority, you know, because Tom has been working 7 days a week. So
I get that. Okay.
so yeah.
So the beach department is lifeguards?
The beach department is lifeguards, and part of Tom's salary is split between those two departments.
Okay.
He oversees both of them, so we just have always split his salary. I think it might be actually, I have to look back. We used to do 50-50. I know we've changed here and there, so it might be, I'll check that out for you and let you know. But yes, it's Tom's salary in both departments plus the lifeguards in the beach department.
Okay. All right. That's I was just curious about that. It seemed to be pretty if we didn't have any recreation allowed in town, I figured it had to be Tom. So okay, I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you.
All right.
You
Yeah, I
had a
mean,
que-
just
Go ahead.
just real quick, Larry, Drew's right and you're right about, our city ordinance dealing with our municipality. But I think one of the unique things about that application to DBPR submitted by the county was it took the pressure off of us for having to send an application in asking for permission, when the county doing it allows all the municipalities that have short-term rentals to either say that they want to do it or they don't want to do it. So if we've got someone that has a short-term rental in Flagler Beach, now with DBPR's approval, they can open, but if they don't want to, they don't have to.
And they can only open if they were legit before, under our ordinance.
Right, and then they have to follow the guidelines that were submitted and approved by the Division of, or the Department of Business and Professional Regulations.
Okay. I don't think we can say that too often, because I know people are going to try and twist it around somehow. So let's keep saying it over and over again. Does anybody else have anything on short-term rentals before Larry moves on?
The only thing I was going to say, and Drew, I think you and I had this conversation, if a HOA has rules in place, as long as they're as strict as the rules from the state, if they choose to make it stricter, they can. They just can't lessen
That's correct. The stricter rule applies when it comes to condo associations, homeowners associations. So you can, if the condo association has stricter rules than governmental regulations, the condo association documents apply. If it's the other way around, the laws or the regulations apply. The stricter always applies in that interaction.
Okay, you okay, Linda?
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
clarifying that because I had that conversation with Drew already.
Okay, no, that was good. Anybody else have anything on short-term rentals?
Chair,
Okay.
I've got something that I'll be putting out on Facebook tomorrow from DBPR that shows a list of all the safety precautions that they're
Right.
gonna have enact. So I'll put that out sometime tomorrow.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Matt.
I just have one question. I know it's probably no, but I don't know. So is there any way that that is monitored? Because I know we don't have the staff to do that or to compliance or anything like that. It's just a self-monitoring and self-compliance type of initiative.
Correct. If there are complaints received, our response to complaints when it comes to the guidelines, the COVID related guidelines, should be to refer any complaints to DBPR.
Okay.
Drew, let me ask you a question though. So first of all, we get a complaint here locally about a compliance issue. You know, even before this incident, we automatically have code enforcement go out and do an investigation. Am I correct?
Yes, and here, I mean, we still have the authority to go out and conduct an investigation, especially if it's related to our own ordinance. That does not change. If we get complaints about somebody doing short-term rentals that our ordinance does not allow, that's going to be internal code enforcement for City of Flagler Beach.
Okay.
It's the COVID-related ones that need to be referred to DBPR.
Okay, just wanted to be clear.
Now they're breaking DBPR's rules.
Got it.
We can investigate those if we want to, but really we're going to be sending information to DBPR on those.
Okay. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, does any more questions on the wonderful world of short-term rental?
Well, that's why I was asking, and it seemed like everybody was okay. So you can move on.
Okay, well, last but not least on my list, and Commissioner Bellumer is very familiar with this. Let's talk about the pig issue. I love the response. So anyway, Commissioner Bellumer, do you want to talk about that? Because I know we've had complaints in the south end of the city. I'm not sure how many has reached other commissioners.
I haven't gotten any complaints directly to me, although other than what I've heard from you. So when Larry called me yesterday and told me that the complaints were mounting up about the hogs down the south end again, that I touched base with the trapper that was here last round, and to see if he still had that contract with the county. And the county was gracious enough to lend him to us. It's pretty much how that worked the last time. So that contract has indeed expired. So we would have to enter into a contract with him ourselves. However, I did talk to the land manager at the county again, the one that passed him along to us the last time, and he was still doing a little more research. So I don't have all the information I wanted to put together, but the hog trapper, if he were to come in here and sign a contract with the county or with the city for a year, he's asking for $3,500 to just keep after him. So that's his proposal at this point. I have not been able to follow up and get any other proposals yet. One thought that I did have was that maybe we could buy a trap or two ourselves, and if we were to get pigs in them, then there are people out there that would come take them away. But Michael Orlando at the county, he's looking to see if there's any other people beyond this person that was here before, that have the license, that are able to cart them away alive. So that's what I found out so far, Larry.
Okay, well, and I kind of wanted to bring that up because, you know, Liz has got 5 phone calls about 12 hogs or pigs or whatever we want to call them. And so the bottom line is that if there's going to be a fee attached to it, I guess what I'm asking is, Commissioner Bellumer, that do we need to reach out and get 3 estimates for certified hog trappers before we get into a contract? Because I'm really just trying to figure out exactly how we handle this, legally from a procurement process. And I know Drew and Kathleen are still on. I just want to make sure we go down the right path in order to alleviate the issue based on the phone calls. Or do we tell the people, I'm sorry, we can't help you? And that's really where I'm at today.
Well, Michael told me that before the end of the week, he would do some research and see if he could compile a list of any others. So at least we could have a running start and let them know that we were looking for somebody. You know, sometimes people may not know that there's that people are looking for a government is looking for somebody to help them out. So that's what I know so far.
Okay, guys, the bottom line is all I want to do is be able, because Liz has had comments based on the phone calls that, well, the city took care of the issue last year, why aren't they doing it this year? And I'm just telling you what the phone calls were.
Well, the county did it last year.
Right.
I was on the county.
Yeah, I told Liz not to call them back yet and tell them, because, you know, if there's a solution out there that the city needs to provide at a fee, then I just want to know what to tell the people.
Any idea what the cost would be, Larry or Rick?
$3,500 for a year contract.
So then to your question, Larry, yes, you're at 2 verbal price quotes, preferably 3. And if you seek and there's nobody out there, so that we're dealing with a sole source, you could do it as a sole source, but we need to try to get other verbal quotes if there's folks to go to and ask for them.
But they have to be certified.
Verbal quotes. So you have to go through the effort of seeking verbal quotes. It's not a formal bid process.
Right. Now, who are they certified from? Are they certified from the Fish and Wildlife?
FWC. Yeah, FWC.
Okay. All right. Just want to check, because like I say, I don't have a problem pursuing this, because obviously it is a problem that's an annual problem. I don't think it's an expensive problem, but I just think it's something we have to have a game plan for.
Ken, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I'm in favor of at least putting out some level of a bid, and that way we keep it clean and we don't have anyone else coming up later on saying, well, why wasn't I given an opportunity?
I'm all about that.
You know, so but that's just where I am. And I mean, I've ran into some guys that love to come out and hunt pigs.
Mayor, have they been out and about down there where you are? Okay, so they must be north of that, most likely. I know Joy McGrew had said that she had them on her island, on her property. So I know they're there, but exactly at what spot they are right now, I'm not sure.
I have some emails and some photographs right down around the 19th Street.
That's about where Joy is, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, good. They haven't made it to my house yet.
Yeah.
Don't feel offended, Larry.
I have them behind my house.
No, they'll make it. Trust me. I took a picture of them. Well, actually, my wife did. But so where we're at today in this conversation is we're still looking at bids and putting together a game plan. We don't have a solution today. Correct?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Okay, do you have anything else on your list?
No, ma'am, what I'd like to introduce is Matt to actually talk about something I'm sure you guys haven't got phone calls about. That would be the boardwalk and the pier in the parks.
Nah.
I kind of figured that. So anyway, Matt, if you want to jump in on those, because Matt's done a yeoman's job on working with Bob Snyder. And again, to be very, very clear, Mayor, I know you take a lot of these phone calls because you're the mayor. But the bottom line is that I'd like for Matt to go ahead and brief where we're at and where we're going and where we don't know where we're going. Go ahead, Matt, please.
Thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. So where we're at now, the beach is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only thing that prohibits people is social distancing. And I posted a lot of stuff on social media recently, videos that show that compliance level has been fantastic. The boardwalk is open to pedestrian traffic, but the benches and the picnic tables are closed. When Bob Snyder and I went on our tour 2 months ago, the picnic tables were a source of contention, especially for Bob, because it's a place for people to congregate. And it wasn't 2 or 3 people, it was 10, 12, 15 people around there. So we've opened up additional parking. I talked to Ron Mead yesterday. He's working on getting us those blue P parking signs on 100 and A1A. I don't have a date when they're going to be installed, but Ron's working with me on those. So the next thing that we're looking at opening up will be Wodsworth Park. Betty Stefflick Park is open. The dog park at Wodsworth is open for people that want to walk their dogs. The only drawback right now is Heidi Petito is in charge of the parks for the county. She was on vacation. She just got back. I believe she was in a budget meeting all day today. So I'll talk to her and Bob tomorrow. The issue is going to be cleaning the parks and the bathrooms. And that's one of the problems with opening the bathrooms at the pier is if you open them, obviously there's an expectation of having them cleaned. And right now, cleaning those bathrooms with city staff would be very labor intensive, probably really expensive. So the pier will remain closed, but we review these things every week. So with Memorial Day weekend coming up, we're staffed heavily here at the police department. We've got assistance from Sheriff Staley, thanks to his deputies. So we'll have seven law enforcement officers working this weekend, which is in my opinion, is a good number for the crowds that I expect with the weather that we're going to have. I haven't received any phone calls or any complaints about the pier. I don't know. I know, Mayor, you've been fielding some complaints about fishing, but people are allowed to fish from the beach just north and south of 10th Street North and 10th Street South. The problem with the pier is because of the nature of its design, as narrow as it is, and the amount of footage that we lost due to the recent hurricanes, really the only good place to fish from the pier is at the very end. So how do we keep people social distance at the end of that pier? You'd have to put boxes for each individual that was going to stand there, and you'd probably maybe get 10 people out there. So the problem would be letting people on. If you open the pier at 6 in the morning and you allow 10 people on there, in order to let one on, one's got to come off. Well, who's going to be in charge of doing that? I don't think it's fair to put the pier attendants to do that. And I don't think having a law enforcement officer or a lifeguard standing there with a velvet rope and a clicker to let people on and off the pier is the right thing either. So I think keeping the pier closed at least until after Memorial Day would probably be beneficial for what we've got going on as far as this COVID.
And then we'll talk about it again after Memorial Day.
Absolutely. We review things every week, Commissioner, and myself, Chief Pace, Captain Cox, Captain Blanchette. We talk about with Larry, and then as Larry said, when it comes to these type of things about opening things up, we always call Bob Snyder. It's a health issue, so the health department's guidance in all of this has been fantastic. The return to work plan that was sent out today,
great,
Bob Snyder approved that. So when it comes to like Betty Steflik, we opened the park, we opened the wooden docks. The only thing over at Steflik that remains closed is the pavilion, again, because it's a natural congregation point. So, you know, when we open these things up, it's methodical. And I know that I read Facebook and some of the comments on there are mean-spirited and hideous, but they're done with the best intentions of the safety of our community and the people that live here, that work here, and want to visit here.
Thank you. Okay, Larry, anything else?
No, but the only thing I will say is that we tried to stress that if we actually have a huge spike in Flagler County because we get too aggressive on this, and I know it seems simple, but that forces us to go back and shut down everything. Everything. And that, of course, will be a recommendation coming from the health department, but you know, the methodical approach, and truly nothing would make me happier than have the pier open. I think the people that like to fish out here have been very patient after Hurricane Matthew, after you know, the Hurricane Irma, and there's nothing I want to do more than open the pier and open the bathrooms. And if it's just based on dollars on the bathroom, I can bring our janitorial service in and say, you're now going to clean the bathrooms 4 or 5 times a day and wipe it down. But are we really taking care of the big issue? Because I can tell you, I've seen some of the emails too about the pier, and I understand it. But we are, and everybody wants to compare us to other piers up and down the Atlantic seaboard. But, you know, we are a different pier. We're a different design. We're narrow on this pier. You know, if we had the new pier already built, it would be wider. It would change things. So I don't know what else to say except we're doing the best we can.
Larry?
Okay, wait, Eric was waiting.
Sorry.
I just
Eric?
wanted to thank Chief for the forward-looking update. And this helps the public quite a bit when we do updates that are forward-looking, you know, versus just current. And you know, I know we can't attach dates to anything, but at least letting everybody know what the plan is and here's what we expect to do and here's kind of the hurdles we're looking at. That's a big help, and that's it was a good update, Chief. So I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Linda?
Larry, if we brought somebody in to clean the bathrooms every hour or whatever it has to be, is that something we could get reimbursed for?
Absolutely.
Because here's the deal. A lot of people during normal times use a lot of these restaurants to use the bathroom. And right now those restaurants aren't allowing people in because they're trying to keep up with their own disinfecting, and plus they can only have a certain occupancy. So right now there's literally nowhere for anybody to go to the bathroom, which is really disgusting if you think about it. So that's why, you know, but only, I don't see why we should have to pay the additional monies, but if we could get reimbursed for that, I think it's something that we should look into.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll ask Matt to have a conversation with Bob and say, if we open the bathrooms, exactly what do you recommend as a sanitation or sanitizing schedule? And get feedback from Bob on that, because again, having the bathrooms open, I don't have a problem with it, paying our janitorial service. They can log in their hours just like we do as staff, that it's related to this incident. As long as I can get buy-off from Bob Snyder, I'll be happy to consider that.
Okay. Penny?
I just are the person we are provider janitorial services from. I just need Bill Clements to check with her on her schedule because she does have another regular job. So she usually cleans on the weekends at night. for the city. So, or early in the morning at the police station. So that she may or may not be able to do it consistently.
Okay, thank you, Penny. Rick? You're muted.
Okay, yeah, I know, it's muted, just finding the mouse to unmute. As some of you already know, my boy works for the Parks Department in the county, and what he's told me is that rather than them cleaning the bathrooms once a day, they now do them twice a day. So all their parks that are open, other than Steflik under the bridge, their bathrooms are open. So, but that's what they've been doing, like up at Barn Park, for instance, or the other parks going up through the hammock. That their restrooms are open, but they clean them twice a day as opposed to once. So,
And Rick,
just a little.
if I
Matt, Matt, in any of the governor's emergency notices, was there anything about how often bathrooms should be cleaned? I don't remember reading anything like that, but you would know better.
Chair, not that I've seen, and Larry, I got your direction and I got myself a sticky note. I'll make sure that I mention that to Bob in the morning. But one of the things that Bob, when I talked to him the other day about Wodsworth Park was concerned with was the bathrooms, one, but some of the equipment out there, like at the skateboard park and the bicycle park, the ramps, those things, would they be wiped down? So with Heidi being out, I don't have that technical knowledge, and Bob had questions about that. So that's something that we'll talk about with Heidi. And, you know, Bob is a great community partner, and I know he's going to be on next Thursday's call to give you all an update. And he's one of those people that he's easy to work with, and I'll bring it up to him. And if he says that the Department of Health or the CDC is recommending 30 minutes, then that's what I'll bring back to Mr. Newsom, whatever, you know, his direction is. But if we can do it and it's reimbursable and we can open those bathrooms, Mayor, then absolutely. And Commissioner Cooley, you're right. You know, you can't, we have to worry about today, but we're always looking next week. And, you know, we're in the middle of 4th of July planning. Just because the fireworks and the parade have been canceled, you know, we would be remiss if we didn't think there's going to be a huge crowd of people coming for the 4th of July.
Absolutely.
So
I think Ken wanted to say something.
I was just going to say, you know, the beach, the bathrooms here are obviously going to be used a lot. So I think twice a day would probably not be
Yeah, I agree.
reasonable. I think would be probably more like maybe every 30 minutes, really, when you think about the number of people that are actually going to be out there. Now, an abundance of caution, that's what I would actually recommend, but I'm not an emergency management guy, but just cleanliness and sanitation.
Well, it's almost like going into a very fancy restaurant. You have a bathroom attendant.
Right.
So the bottom line is, I guess probably let's answer a question that's probably hadn't been asked yet. Are the bathrooms going to be open for Memorial Day? And where we're at right now, until Matt talks to Bob, which will be tomorrow, I can't give you an answer on that. So is anybody asking for an answer for Memorial Day?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. I think I saw Captain Cox raise his hand saying he wanted to be the attendant in the bathroom. I mean, maybe my glasses aren't working right, but I'm pretty sure I saw his hand go up.
Well, it probably pays more.
Shane, I have a question.
Larry, does the county have a contract that we could possibly ride on?
As far as
Get
sanitation?
someone that quickly?
As far as sanitation?
Yeah.
You know, believe it or not, our staff always filled in the gaps. So I really don't think we need to ride piggyback on the county.
Okay.
I think it's a good question, Commissioner, but if we decide to make that decision, whatever our contract janitorial services can't handle, we'll handle through Bill's office, through maintenance. And trust me, Jason does a fantastic job. Of course, he probably doesn't appreciate me saying that, but he took care of City Hall quite some time. while we were in between contracts. So either way, we make a decision to do it, it'll get done.
Larry, I think Penny's got her hand up. I think she's got an answer.
Well, no, Debbie was asking before me, so Debbie.
Well, could we try that again?
Debbie was raising her hand before me.
Thank you, Penny. My question just is for pass holders, people that have passes to the pier that have expired or very close to expiring. I'm assuming that we are going to allow them on the pier and give them some sort of grace period.
Well, Debbie, that's a very good question. We've actually been extending
Just said hi.
passes since Hurricane Matthew. So anybody that's a pass
Oh, okay.
holder, anybody that's a pass holder, they have so much time on their passes that they probably have a couple of years because of Matthew and Irma. So anybody that's a pass holder, truly, we are extending.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Penny?
More a question for Drew. Just like when you go to the grocery store, how they have signs up like these carts have been sanitized. Would it put a sign up at the restrooms once they're open, advising that it's at your risk? They are not cleaned after each use.
It certainly would not hurt anything.
Just liability. People are always looking at cities for a free ride, so.
Not this city.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Larry, so you have a direction you feel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was that your last issue?
That's the end of my list.
Okay. So I'm going to go see which commissioner or the mayor wants, well, why don't we do staff first? Matt, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, ma'am, just here to answer any questions that any members of the commission may have.
Okay. Steve, is there anything you want to bring up?
No, ma'am, we're good here.
Okay, thank you. Fred, I wanted to thank you for your list of projects. Is there anything you want to talk about besides having provided that for us?
Nothing in particular. The city manager asked me to fill you guys in up to date on all the projects that are going on. We have about 8 to 10 construction projects actively going on at the present time. If you have any particular questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, no, I was a very good list and I didn't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions?
We hope to get started on Lambert Avenue in July, Jane, once we get the swale project completed.
Okay. Asplin was on our street. That we don't have any connection with that. They, I guess, clearing the trees from the wires before.
Jane, that's probably the power company that contracted with Ashland.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of Fred?
I just had one on the Pier Restaurant. Where are we on that? I think I read it briefly because I just printed it off. I know we were doing some work over there as far as the dumpster support and all.
Fred, let me jump into that one. First of all, the A-frame, that project is complete.
Okay.
So we've actually reinforced the A-frame, which hadn't been done in probably 30 years. They all have brand new galvanized bolts. So the A-frame is withstand a lot of hurricanes and it's going to continue to do so because we now have an annual maintenance program for it. Let's jump over to the working with Mr. Ray Barche on the dumpster area. The design's complete. And what we're looking at before we actually got into this virus is we are looking at redoing the dumpster area only for the benefit for the dumpster area. Ray Barche has other ambitions to expand the restaurant, which he'll have to pay for. But I do feel like the dumpster area, which is a building that we lease, which is a primary use for that building, that we will handle that. But we probably won't go out for bid until we know exactly where this virus is going. But we do have plans for it. Right now, we're in the middle of turtle season, so that changes everything. Or let me say that, it delays everything. Because the pylons that have to be set are going to have to be jetted into the ground. And that can't happen during turtle season. But we are ready to go.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Rick?
This isn't directly in reference to the swale project, but I know they've been going around and watering what they've been doing in the swales, plus they've been watering the new sod down at the library. But they haven't been here for a couple of days, and that side of the library looks like it may not make it unless it gets some water on it. Do we expect anybody back with some water anytime soon to keep that?
Believe it or not, Commissioner, we talked about that this morning with the project manager under Fred. Klein Construction, without impeding on HIPAA laws, they've had 2 people test positive.
Wow.
That have been on the cruise. So automatically that delays some of the things with the swell project. However, we are, and Fred, you can always chime in, we are looking that the single individual with Klein, which is part of their contract, gets back into the water truck. It's a dry season right now. It's a dry part of the season.
Right.
As Captain Cox will tell you, because of the fire issues. But, we are watering it. Believe it or not, I asked the fire department to go out and water the wick line yesterday afternoon. And they're doing it again this afternoon on the wick line. Halifax contract for the wick line is done. So what we're looking at is on internal staff between Alan and his pull behind and our fire department. We're asking them to help us keep that watered, because right now it's imperative that it keeps watered. The swell project, Fred's working with them, because typically that was a 3 times a day project. Am I correct, Fred?
Yes, sir. And the gentleman that was driving the water truck is one of the guys that came down with the virus. So I did speak to our inspector, and Chuck talked to Klein, and I told him if they didn't do any more work this week, they needed to have the water truck running.
That answers my question, Larry. I was just hate to see all that brand new sod down there at the library die.
Well,
Once it gets established, it'll be fine.
Right.
Whether it rains or not, because it's Bahia grass, it'll live through it.
Well, to
But it needs to
understand
get
it,
established first.
yeah, to understand it too, Commissioner, is the contractor is responsible for sod. That's part of the project, part of any project that a contractor does, whether it's DOT, whether it's City of Flagler Beach or anybody else. So, but Halifax, if we want them to come back out, because we try to estimate what we're going to pay to water, but we also know at the end of the day, the people are going to look at my commission and my mayor on what are you doing? You put all this sod down. So we're all working together to make sure we can keep the grass alive.
Okay, good news.
Okay, anybody else?
Hey, Fred, just to remind you that that post comes out tomorrow reminding, we're actually announcing about the sewer smoke testing on June 8th. That post goes out tomorrow, and then I've got one that comes out actually the weekend before. So the residents north of State Road 100 will know that sewer smoke testing will be taking place.
Especially this time, and we want to make sure when people see smoke, they don't panic, because it really is it's a bad time for firefighters right now.
Yeah, that's why the post is going out now, Larry, so that they're aware, and then we'll just refresh the weekend before so that they don't forget. Last thing we want to do is get 911 calls about smoke coming up through, the shower.
Yeah, exactly.
We have
Captain
smoke testing going on. We have sewer lining that's going to start very soon. Our water valve project is starting up. Our well project's continuing. Our water plant, our sewer plant. our swale project. Lambert Avenue's in the Waynes in a couple weeks. Well, in July, hopefully Lambert Avenue. There's just everything's happening in Flagler Beach.
And there will be a meeting with the Lambert Avenue people before we do anything.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to even schedule that or discuss that with the city manager, but that's definitely a meeting that's going to happen before anything starts.
Thank you.
Captain Cox, do you want to actually chime in based on the issues when it comes to the concerns with the fire department?
Yeah, absolutely. When we had the first series of smoke testing, we did get a numerous amount of calls regarding structure fires. And fortunately that it was a false call due to that. So, Chief Downey, I appreciate you being proactive and putting the post out early. I would still stress to any citizen though, if you think that your house is on fire, please call, because we would hate for you to think it is smoke testing and it's the real thing, and then it's a little too late. So as far as just the fire index right now, we are entering into a drought. We're praying for some rain, but a combination with that and the low humidity and the winds, it's going to present a problem if we don't have any rain. But we've been, real transparent, and we've talked to the other agencies, and we're preparing ourselves just in case we do have an elevated season. We've done some modifications to our trucks house. So we're more than prepared for whatever comes our way.
But Captain Cox, let me go ahead and say this. So as it exists today, and I don't know, Matt, if it went out in the PA, but when it comes to burn permits that people typically go through your department, we're denying all burn permits at this point in time.
That is correct. I spoke with Drew this afternoon regarding burn permits. Now, at night, we don't issue out burn permits because of sea turtles, but individuals are allowed normally to utilize those during the day up into the twilight time. But after speaking with Drew, we are going to suspend any applications for burn permits up until a little further notice.
So the bottom line is that people that want to burn debris, and I come from living on 5 acres, even if they want to burn some of their small debris piles, that now is prohibited. They need to let the city pick it up.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at right now.
If anybody gets calls concerning the smoke testing, we have 3 areas that are going to be done west of the river, that whole area west of the river, excluding, we're not going down to the seaside landings, but all the older section west of the river, west of the bridge, everything north of State Route 100, and the area south of the water tank. Those 3 areas.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. Is that all you wish to talk about? Was there any other issue you wish to be specific about?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions of Fred? Okay, I just had one question. I guess it's pretty much Matt and Steve. Are we kind of going to use Memorial Day as a test for July 4th? I know that a lot of people want to get out and about for Memorial Day. I'm sure they'll be coming to the beach in great droves. Is that going to kind of be a test for what comes 5 weeks later?
I'll let Chief Downey speak on that. I know he was making some plans and they're prepared. So Chief, do you want to address that?
Chair, the events, although similar, are different. But I think in essence, yes. I think what we see this coming weekend, especially with the holiday on Monday, like I said, our staffing levels are good. That'll gauge what, possibly the 4th of July could be like. We anticipate both events to be, rather large, but the 4th of July, even without fireworks and parade, I've already discussed it with Sheriff Staley, talked to one of his commanders today. And we've got a planning meeting, a Zoom planning meeting on the 28th. So we'll kind of gauge what we see this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for what the 4th may bring. And I got the guarantee from them at the sheriff's office that the one thing that I think we should be prepared is not just the 4th of July, because it falls on a Saturday,
Oh,
but
weekend.
the 5th of July as well. So I think that's something that, Captain Blanchett's working on a plan. I'm working on a plan. The first Friday event, I would imagine will probably be canceled as well. That's something that you as a board haven't talked about yet, but that would be Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday. So they'll present challenges, but the community partners over at the EOC, BP with React, I know Commissioner Cooley's familiar with him. We'll be ready when it comes to both events because law enforcement across the board are all dedicated, and whatever we need to reach out to partners, even out of the county. The Daytona Beach Police Department has helped us the last 3 years. So if we need help from them, we can also reach out to Chief Capri down there.
Well, Matt, do me a favor. Yeah, First Friday is canceled.
Okay, so
if you can put that out, if you don't mind.
Chief, you sent out notices about the fireworks. Do you want to reiterate some of what you said?
yeah, so one of the questions that was posed to me was, with the new law that was changed a couple months ago, allowing fireworks to be possessed by citizens on the 4th of July, on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, does that preclude the city from allowing personal fireworks? And the answer is yes. Our city ordinance is 9-17, subsection B1, which makes the possession of fireworks unlawful under our ordinance. And just like we talked about before, a municipality can be more restrictive than state law. So the two things that we're worried about with fireworks, one, obviously being safety. Nobody wants there to be an accident with an M80. Nobody plans for it until that M80 goes off in your hand and blows your fingers off. So safety is one issue. And with the drought, fire is the second issue. So Chief Pace and I put out public service announcements last year. We'll renew those, put those out again this year, and probably have some additional posts about safety when it comes to fireworks and those things. That's one of the factors that, we'll see what happens this weekend to see if fireworks are an issue. But we know going into the 4th of July that personal fireworks are going to be an issue.
Okay, I just wanted for the public for it to be clear that although the state changed the rules, we didn't.
Correct.
Okay, Ken?
Yeah, Chief, just an idea on the fireworks prohibition. Would it be possible to use the vehicle that you have with the little digital board up there during 4th of July weekend, even maybe this weekend, fireworks prohibited or something to that effect?
Absolutely.
So that individuals coming into the city and somebody get caught weapon this while didn't know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The message board that's out on State Road 100 right now is on loan from the EOC, and Jonathan's been fantastic about that. So we usually use that for the 4th of July anyway. Okay. We usually use that message board to advertise the park and ride, but we have two of message boards that are attached to the back of police vehicles. So absolutely, we can use our electronic technology to utilize it for whatever we need it for.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. If staff is done with their presentations or what things they wanted to tell us, are there any commissioners or the mayor that want to bring anything else up? Debbie?
I have 2 items for discussion. Sherry McManus, who runs our golf course, has been in the press. I would just need to understand, what are we looking at his contract going forward? I don't know if it's a Larry or a Drew question. Kind of You know, has anybody checked into the accusations against Mr. McMahon?
Larry, you may know more, but what I know at this point is I know that there are allegations that are being investigated. One, I will tell you, as far as the contract goes, investigations are investigations, convictions are a different matter. And like I think I've said to some of you, if there are convictions, it will come down to how they involve that golf course, because the golf course is operated by the LLC, not Terry McManus individually, and Terry's personal life and the LLC are separate entities legally. But if that golf course is being used in a fraud, I think that's a problem under the contract.
Which is what's being investigated now. Am I correct?
That's my understanding, but I don't want to go into too much detail on an active investigation.
No. And I'm not trying to, because Matt's got his staff working on it. So the answer is that there is an investigation outside of what you've seen in the media. And that's the issues that the insurance issues and things of that nature. There is another investigation out there that truly, from my opinion, Matt, I'm not asking you to say too much, but from my opinion, may involve the golf course.
I think we're better off leaving it legally until I think we're going to get in trouble here. Drew, am I right?
Well, again, it's not appropriate in a public atmosphere to go into too much detail over an active and pending criminal investigation.
So let's just,
Okay,
Debbie, when there's information, you'll
yeah,
get.
that's fine. I've had people ask me, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Drew, how long is our contract with him? Do you know?
How long is it?
Yeah. Are we?
I want to say 15, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. I can probably figure that out pretty quick, though.
It was at least 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, enough said. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. I also have one last thing, Chair. I was contacted by Steve, who owns East Mental. He's the graffiti artist in town. He brought to my attention, he said he mentioned to Eric about a year ago that the seawall just south of the Topaz Motel has graffiti all over it, inappropriate graffiti. And so he would like to actually beautify that seawall. He said he's willing to do it for free. He would just like the city to pay for the paint, the spray paint, which he believes would cost about $300.
All right, why don't you get together with Larry for such a small amount and see? Is that all right, Larry?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie.
All right, thanks.
Okay, who else had
I just
something?
had one comment also.
Yeah, that one also.
No, I was going to just comment. Thanks, Debbie, for bringing that up, the golf course. I took a 2-hour tour of the facilities and the grounds last week, and I talked to the staff and the volunteers and everyone down there. So I'd like to get with Larry or finance later to go over all of the finances and profit and loss statements, et cetera. I'd just like to know a lot more about it. I didn't know there was a 20-year contract, which I'd never heard of, but at any rate.
15, I just checked, it is 15.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
But anyway, that's all I have. Folks down there work very hard, and I was really impressed with how many volunteers are down there and how supportive of the golf course the community is there. I mean, they deserve a good golf course, because there was a lady out there golfing. I think she was 90 years old, and she could have beat me anytime. But I mean, I think it's a very good facility, and the folks really support it. But I was pretty amazed how many people are actually keeping it going that are actually volunteers. Very passionate.
Yeah, they are. You didn't have anything else, Ken?
That's all I have.
Okay, and Rick, is that a hand up? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. All right. I don't know how many of you have been passing through the north end of town since they started spreading that sand on top of the dunes up there. But they found some good red coquina sand. They're spreading it on top of that white sand, so it will keep it from blowing around. They're putting a real nice thick coat of it on there. That's FDOT and of the sheriff's inmates. So want to give a shout out to the sheriff for helping our people at the north end get out from under this white sand blowing around all the time. They haven't got real far yet because they're doing such a thorough job. They're starting at the road edge and actually going over top of the crest of the dune a little bit. So all that white sand west of the seawall is being covered with a thick layer of coquina sand. So, and that stuff packs up really nice, and they won't have the sandstorms up there that they've had in the past two plus years since they put that white sand down. So I'm sure all the people at the north end are grateful, and we as a city are grateful for FDOT doing it, and our sheriff for sending some help over to get it done.
Most of the comments I've received or seen on Facebook have been positive, except they're worried about the plants being covered.
Plants will pop up through them. They'll come back through.
Okay.
If I may comment, Commissioner, I want to thank Matt, because if it wasn't for Matt's relationship with the sheriff, those inmates would have not been out here. Every time we've had to do something on the beach, I call Matt, Matt calls the sheriff, and we have no problem getting them out here. So, kudos to Matt, kudos to the sheriff, and that's the relationship we have with our law enforcement agencies.
That's good. Thank you, Matt. Okay, Rick, anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Linda, did you want to bring anything up? No. Eric? No. Okay. The only thing I wanted to bring up, Penny sent something out about the League of Cities having ethics training. I know most of you have been attending the one that Palm Coast does. Not sure Palm Coast is going to be doing that this year. So there's a free one online. You can be comfy and sloppy in your own home on June 18th from 10 to 3:30. For the new guys, it's something you have to do every year. So we all are very ethical. It goes from 10 to 12, and then an hour and a half for lunch, since you all have to go so far to get lunch. And then from 1:30 to 3:30.
Jane, can I ask a question? Is that just for elected officials, or is it also managers?
Elected
I
officials.
don't know. Penny, could you find that out?
It's for elected officials, and you have to attest to it on your Form 1.
Right.
But if Larry, if your question is, can other staff members attend? I don't know that they would exclude anybody.
Okay.
I don't know. Penny can contact Lynn.
Captain.
Yeah, her. Maybe find out for you. Eric?
You're muted, Eric.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to let everybody know that there's also a ethics training you can stream on the League of Cities website. That's always there, and it's done by the city lawyer for Ormond, I believe. But that's something if you cannot attend a scheduled meeting.
There used to be one Drew's partner did. I don't know. Drew, do you know if that's still available?
I don't know. I haven't seen Cliff in a few weeks because we're on modified schedules, but I'll send him an email and ask him if he knows if it's still up.
Okay, yeah, because the one that I first attended online through the League of Cities was videoed by Cliff. But that was a while back, so I don't know if they're still doing that. But anyway, this one's available. It is something we all have to do at some point, because the Form 1 is going to be due July 1st. Am I right, Penny?
Yeah, but you can You can scoop.
But new elected officials will not have to certify that until next year. I would certainly encourage you to go ahead and do it. But as far as certification, that will be on next year's certification for newly elected officials.
Do they have to do a Form 1 this year?
They already did one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. Okay.
I don't know, Katie may send out another one. That's what I put in there. If they don't receive one, to let me know and I'll give her a call.
I got mine today.
I saw, because Larry got his, I saw it at the mail here, so I assumed you guys were.
You can do it online too, through Katie's office. And if you serve on more than one thing, like Eric and Rick and I are on pension boards, and they require a Form 1 as well, but you only have to do one. Once you've done it, you're done.
Yeah,
with it.
doesn't it, par board members have to too, I believe.
Yes.
I thought I had to when I was on the par board.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything?
Yep.
Going, gone.
Just one thing, Chair, real quick. You know, Chief Pace not being here, I appreciate Captain Cox filling in. So without getting into too much detail, as a department head, Bobby not being here and Kathleen going through her struggles, that the members of the board keep our department heads that are here with struggles or out of town with family struggles, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. We're all one big family, and you know what they're going through. We're here to help.
Yeah, no, we absolutely do, Matt. But thanks for saying that. Who's the one who's always telling you to be careful, right? Yeah, I worry about the kind of hours all of you have been working and the stress you've been under. Our lives haven't been great either, but anybody else? Okay, we don't need a motion to adjourn, do we? Oh, we did have one public comment, Penny.
Yes.
Were there any others after that?
Nope.
Okay, the one that we had was about the pier.
Yep.
She's got so many words to say.
Yep.
She doesn't seem too interested in.
Well, I just want to make sure that we didn't miss it. So
It's not
everybody,
critical in a workshop either, is it?
well, just people
Yeah,
take the
it's
time
just a
to.
nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, people take the time. I think they should be recognized. But so if there were no others that came in, we're good.
All right.
So I
Hi,
guess,
Susie.
oh, hi,
I'm
Susie.
No, it's not.
That's Sydney in the background.
Yeah, I thought it was Susie at first.
Yeah, I did too.
They
It
do
was
look a
Sydney.
bit alike.
It was Sydney, just a little. Okay, anybody else got anything? All right, have a good Memorial Day, be safe.
You too.
Bye, Mayor.
Take care of yourselves.
Thank you, bye.
Good weekend.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay,
All right. See everybody later.
all right, and Carlos, thank you again.
Yep. As always, thank you all. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Okay.